Hello, everyone. The first season of Where Winds Meet is already racing toward its conclusion. Is everyone having a fun time exploring the game? That's great to hear. Today's video isn't exactly a guide video. Instead, I've put together a showcase to introduce my current setup and build in full detail. I want to emphasize once again, this is not a mandatory guide, and I'm not here to force a specific playstyle on anyone. Personally, I'm not a fan of the one correct answer or the most efficient meta. What truly matters is enjoying the game through a gameplay style optimized for you. Let's look at an example. Probably over 90% of moblade users were the Moonflare set and the Rain Whisper set, right? However, I use the Ivorybloom set. I have personally confirmed that this is extremely efficient in actual combat. Not only does it significantly boost the moblade's DPS, but it also allows for a seamless role swap into a healer. This is just one specific example. In this video, I will explain all the reasons and logic behind why I made those choices for my build and setup. My apologies, the intro was a bit long. From here on, I present to you my moblade build. This is my setup when I play multiplayer with the moblade. I can perform the roles of both tank and DPS simultaneously. In multiplayer, I use Morale Chant, Art of Resistance, Battle Anthem, and Adaptive Steel. Everyone, I recommend keeping Battle Anthem and Adaptive Steel at rank 0 and not upgrading them any further. Let me explain why. Essentially, Battle Anthem and Adaptive Steel are Bell Strike, innerways. Since our innerway chest boxes are limited, we must focus our resources on ranking up Stone Split, innerways. Therefore, upgrading Battle Anthem or Adaptive Steel means scattering your limited opportunities and resources too thin. There is one more reason why you shouldn't upgrade Battle Anthem and Adaptive Steel. This is information from the Chinese server, though it's not 100% confirmed yet. Currently, we swap to the moblade after using the Stormbreaker Spear's charge attack to receive a damage bonus buff, right? However, this mechanism is reportedly changing. It is said that the damage bonus buff will be triggered by the Q skill instead of the charge attack. If this happens, we will have no choice but to equip the rock-solid innerway. Also, take a look at the rank 6 effect of the Exquisite Scenery, innerway. It's an excellent option. As expected, it truly serves as the main innerway for the moblade. In other words, Battle Anthem and Adaptive Steel can be replaced by Rock Solid and Exquisite Scenery. Do you understand what I mean? Furthermore, I do not use Exquisite Scenery in multiplayer. The reasons are as follows. First, using Exquisite Scenery does not provide a meaningful enough increase in DPS. Second, there are currently no multiplayer dungeons deadly enough to require the use of Guard and Exquisite Scenery for survival. Even during the Berserk phase of the Twin Lions, it is very easy to survive if you just pay a little attention to your controls. Additionally, my stability as a tank can be sufficiently supplemented with Guard, Dodge, Parry, Golden Body, and Predator's Shield. I have already demonstrated this enough in the videos on my channel. However, I am always ready to equip Exquisite Scenery whenever needed. After all, the main innerway of the moblade is Exquisite Scenery. I don't use any DPS-related mythic skills in multiplayer at all. If I had to recommend just one, I'd suggest using Dragon's Breath at rank 4. This isn't to increase DPS, but because of the 40% damage reduction effect while active. In urgent situations where you cannot use Predator's Shield or Golden Body, Dragon's Breath can be a great alternative. And please, make sure to utilize Golden Body. I will emphasize this again and again. Golden Body is a truly elite skill. At rank 4, it even consumes more vitality to provide buff effects to your party members. Memorize the patterns of powerful incoming damage and trigger Golden Body at the appropriate timing. By mastering this, you become a more perfect tank. Do not underestimate Golden Body just because it isn't a DPS skill. Cloud Steps is also an excellent skill. It's extremely useful for quickly approaching the boss or evading attacks. Since the moblade is a heavy weapon, it has the disadvantage of low mobility. This skill perfectly compensates for that drawback. Think carefully about how to appropriately rotate both Golden Body and Cloud Steps together. Also, utilize Serene Breeze in PvE as well. In PvP, Serene Breeze is a crucial skill used during counterattacks, right? In PvE, try using Serene Breeze effectively when you get blown back or knocked down by a boss attack. Serene Breeze ignores all hit stun states and allows you to return to a standing position immediately. Next, let's talk about solo play. When I clear story mode, outposts, or hunt down bounty hunters chasing me, I use a combination of the moblade and the healing umbrella. I am wearing the Ivorybloom Set, and its bonus effect only triggers when your HP is at 100%. With the continuous healing from the healing umbrella, you can always maintain your HP at 100%, allowing for a stable yet powerful performance. In solo play, I equip Morale Chant, Exquisite Scenery, Art of Resistance, and Trapped Beast. This is a very efficient innerway combination, mainly for hunting bounty hunters. While I don't actively use guard and exquisite scenery in multiplayer, I use them aggressively in solo play. As you can see, even when using the same moblade, you must flexibly change your gameplay depending on the situation. Stubbornly sticking to only one way is not a good method. Additionally, you can receive the morale chant buff every time you receive the continuous healing effect from the umbrella. I use a wider variety of mythic skills in solo play. First is Soaring Spin. If this attack hits, it reduces the opponent's healing effect by 90%. Also, with a short attack motion and a high damage multiplier, it's a great skill for efficient DPS. Second is Talon Strike. This is a great skill when the opponent plays defensively, focusing on guard and parry. It neutralizes the opponent's chi shield and knocks them down immediately. The vitality consumption is very low at 15. Third is Free Morph. This is a skill that launches the opponent into the air while dealing heavy DPS. I don't use this skill often, but I utilize it when following up with an additional combo after knocking an opponent down. Especially when the opponent has an HP shield active, the damage of Free Morph increases by 20%. It's incredibly effective in moblade versus moblade mirror matches. Since I already explained Serene Breeze and Golden Body earlier, I will skip them here. Dragon Head is a truly great skill in solo play. Think of it as your ultimate. It deals massive AoE damage with incredible force. When field monsters are bunched up, try using Dragon Head for a devastating attack. Next is the setup I use when I do the no-hit challenge in trials. For innerways, I use Invigorated Warrior, Divine Roulette, Battle Anthem, and Adaptive Steel. You don't need to wear any innerways related to survival at all. Remember, in a no-hit challenge, you must not get hit even once. That's why I always use Invigorated Warrior, which increases damage by 5%, instead of Morale Chant. Also, since parrying is essential, I use Divine Roulette. If you were doing a trial time attack, the setup might change, but I am specifically enjoying the no-hit challenge using only the moblade content. When doing the trial no-hit challenge, I frequently use Honking Havoc. If you watch the no-hit videos on my channel, you'll see how actively I utilize this skill. It's a great skill that allows you to land the moblade's powerful charge attack one more time. However, be careful, if you use Honking Havoc at the wrong time, the boss might suddenly trigger its surprise attack pattern, putting you in danger. A good timing for Honking Havoc is usually right after the boss is exhausted. Next is the setup I use when I play as a pure healer instead of using the moblade. It's Morale Chant, Royal Remedy, Mending Loom, and Esoteric Revival. You might ask, you are a moblade main, can you actually perform the healer role properly? My answer is, I can perform it perfectly. What is the most important stat for a moblade user? Critical rate. What is the most important stat for a healer? Critical rate. Also, I am wearing the Ivorybloom Set. The conclusion is clear. In my build, the equipment and preferred stats for both the moblade and the healer are identical. Therefore, if I just swap the weapons to the fan and umbrella, I can immediately switch to playing as a healer. When we play Where Winds Meet, situations where we cannot clear global matchmaking dungeons in the tank or DPS role occur very frequently. In these cases, I immediately swap to healer. Then, I clear the dungeon by forcibly keeping dying teammates alive. A pure healer doesn't use a separate DPS weapon, so DPS is only possible through mythic skills. During these times, Dragon's Breath, Drunken Poet, and Soaring Spin are actively utilized. These three skills show excellent DPS performance. If you have enough breathing room while healing, use these three mythic skills to accumulate damage on the boss. Since this isn't a guide, I'll end the healer talk here. Just know that a huge advantage of my build is the ability to freely switch between tank, DPS, and healer just by swapping weapons. Next, let me introduce the innerway notes I am steadily collecting. I have locked and am consistently gathering notes for Fivefold Bleed, Trapped Beast, Art of Resistance, Rock Solid, Vital Leech, Water Totem, Exquisite Scenery, and Morale Chant. I will explain each briefly. Fivefold Bleed is an innerway used for other DPS weapons, especially the umbrella. Ultimately, I plan to master the tank, DPS, and healer roles, not just the moblade. In that sense, I am collecting Fivefold Bleed notes in advance. Also, Fivefold Bleed is a blue-grade note. Even if you dismantle it, it doesn't give many vintage bookplates, so I just save them. While Trapped Beast isn't really used in PvE, it is a very useful innerway for PvP. After reaching 3,000 points, I'm currently taking a break from arena PvP. This is because the stress from illegal cheating and lag caused by ping differences has been quite significant. As a side note, matchmaking for Asia and America is separate, and unfortunately, there are far more cheaters in the Asia region compared to America. Also, the moblade isn't exactly a top-tier weapon for 1v1 arena PvP. It has very clear counters, a limited playstyle, and there are simply better weapon options available. However, if 2v2 or 3v3 arena PvP is introduced in the future, I plan to dive back into the arena in earnest as an moblade tank. My goal isn't just 3,000 points, I plan to reach 4,000, 5,000, or even higher. Any moblade user would know that Art of Resistance is a top-tier innerway, right? I won't provide a separate explanation for this one. As I mentioned earlier, a future update patch might change the trigger for the damage bonus buff to the Stormbreaker Spear's Q skill. I'm collecting these, rock-solid, notes now so that I'm fully prepared when that change happens. I am also collecting Vital Leech notes for PvP. Due to the nature of the moblade, rather than using flashy combos in PvP, you have to accumulate damage slowly with exhaustion execution. In those cases, Vital Leech is an extremely efficient innerway. I am also collecting Water Totem notes. As explained before, I can perfectly perform the role of a pure healer, and this is the main innerway used for that role. Next is Exquisite Scenery. I'm not using it in multiplayer right now, but I'm steadily collecting the notes. Every moblade user desires it, and I also want to hit rank 6 for Exquisite Scenery as soon as possible. Next is Morale Chant. It is a very versatile and practical innerway that can be used by tank, healer, or DPS alike. Since everyone collects this one, I won't explain it further. I am collecting these 8 types of innerway notes. Next, I will explain my character specs and equipment. My character has 65,000 HP and 1,100 max damage. Also, please look at the critical rate. It is 50.8%. Very high, right? Even better, when the Ivorybloom Set bonus triggers, my critical rate hits 55.8%. The moblade's DPS increases sharply as the critical rate goes up. Let me explain the stats a bit more. Other DPS builds have to worry about precision rate and affinity rate, right? However, we moblade users don't need to. Have you ever seen a non precision hit occur when you do a charge attack with the moblade? Probably never. That's because non precision hits do not occur on charge attacks. In other words, we don't need to care about the precision rate stat at all. Now for the gear. I'll show you the equipment I'm wearing for a moment and then continue the explanation. Did you see? Most of my gear options have the critical rate affix. As you can see in my YouTube videos, critical hits trigger frequently when I accumulate damage. It's because I set up my gear to focus heavily on critical rate. Other than that, I tend to wear RMCD options as they come. Let me give you the 3 best options to look for. First, critical rate. Second, max HP. Third, min stone split attack. Remember, these 3 options provide the most efficiency for the moblade. Next is the gear set option. Over 90% of moblade users wear the Rain Whisper set, right? Many people in my comments were asking, why on earth do you not wear the Rain Whisper set? Let me explain this in detail. The Ivorybloom Set provides a base critical rate plus 4% effect. This is a huge benefit for a moblade user. Also, as an additional effect, when your HP is at 100%, the critical rate increases by an additional 5%, and the critical damage increases by an additional 15%. You might argue, is it easy to keep 100% HP as a tank? Isn't it extremely difficult? Well, the key is this: you don't need to maintain 100% HP in every single situation. So when do you need to maintain it? It's the timing after triggering the charge attack damage buff with the Stormbreaker Spear and using Predator's Shield. During this window, we can use the charge attack about 3 to 4 times. We only need the HP to be 100% during that brief window of burst damage. Maintaining 100% HP always, in every situation, is impossible. Think about it. Our party's healer is constantly healing, and on top of that, a solid Predator's Shield is applied. If we also appropriately utilize the damage reduction from the Stormbreaker Spear's Q skill and Golden Body, and then use parry or dodge? While I have the shield active and am performing the charge attack, I end up maintaining 100% HP. Do you understand? Now, let's assume a massive attack breaks the Predator's shield. Everyone, did you know? In that situation, the moment my 100% HP breaks is usually the same moment the Predator's shield breaks. Because of the moblade's mechanism, we perform our charge attacks after using Predator's shield. The additional effect of the Rain Whisper set, the 15% increase in charge attack damage, only triggers when you are in the Predator's shield state. In conclusion, the triggers and timing for the additional effects of the Ivorybloom set and the Rain Whisper set are actually very similar. And there's one more timing when we use charge attacks explosively, when the boss falls into a groggy/vulnerable state. Is it difficult to maintain 100% HP in this situation? Not at all. There are two main situations where the moblade accumulates damage explosively, and maintaining 100% HP in those windows is not as difficult as you might think, especially since we can use guard, parry, dodge, and golden body as supplementary support. Based on this, I chose the Ivorybloom Set. As for the armor, I used the Whirlsnow Set. I chose this out of necessity because the Ivorybloom Set and Whirlsnow Set come from the same reward box. There are other good armor options like Flawless Defense, Agile Steps, and the Eagle Rise Set. However, to farm those, you have to farm a different box entirely. Our energy is limited, and farming two different boxes is no easy task. This is because we need to get critical rate options on 8 pieces of equipment. We don't know how many pieces of gear might be wasted in this process. If you were lucky enough to get all the right RMCD options including critical rate on all your gear, then you can consider other armor sets. But as we all know, that is by no means an easy feat. I've talked quite a bit in today's video. I want to emphasize once again that my gameplay style and setup are not the one true answer, nor are they the most efficient meta. I am simply sharing how I play the moblade and where winds meet. If you want to utilize guard and exquisite scenery, go for it. If you want to wear the Rain Whisper set and the Moonflare set, you can do that. There is no correct answer key in this game. And shall I be honest? The gameplay difficulty of Where Winds Meet is not high enough to force a perfect answer or unconditional maximum efficiency. This is a light game. In the past, I used to obsess over the most efficient methods: optimal gear, optimal DPS rotations, just to achieve a raid parse of 98 or higher in World of Warcraft. But I want to emphasize again that in Where Winds Meet, there is no need or reason to do that. Just like the game's name, Where Winds Meet, I hope you all enjoy the game freely. That's all for today's video. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video, it would be a great joy and a huge help to me. Thank you for watching.